Okay, so we have to basically translate these sentences that are compound statements into symbolic statements. All right, so for that, in your reference sheet, you have to look at the definition for the connective, the symbols that we use to represent the connective words. So to represent the negation, we use tilde. To represent the and connective, we use this upside down V. Represent the or, we use this V symbol. The if then is sort of the most challenging symbol to use, and we'll talk about it, but it's an arrow symbol. And then if and only if is a biconditional arrow. Okay. All right. So first thing that we need to do is we need to identify the simple statements within our compound statement. Okay. So the statement, it is a frog, we're going to label it with P, and it has feathers, that's a Q statement. So in the first compound statement, it is a frog, so that whole thing can be replaced with letter P. The next one says it does not have feathers, so it's very close to Q, but Q is an affirmative statement, it has feathers. Our statement is the negation of Q because of that additional word not, which we know is a negation. Okay, and then the last thing that we have to realize is that the connection between these two, the P and the negated Q, is the connective or, which symbolically is letter V, like so. So in the long run, but in general, we'll have P or not Q as our translation. The next one says it's a frog, so that's statement P as it is. It has feathers, that's statement Q as it is, and they're connected with the word and, so that represents with this symbol, it's an upside down V. So your final translation is P and Q. Now here is the key word that we're now using. I'm going to erase this arrow. We're now using the conditional connective. So the conditional connective is the arrow. And the very important thing about using the arrow symbol is that your conditional statement, the if statement, should always be placed in the beginning of the arrow, and the consequential or the consequence, the then statement, should follow. So the arrow always points to the then statement. So in this case, the condition, if it has feathers. So P is the condition. And so just by the act of placing P in the beginning, at the start of the arrow, already represents that you're making it the if statement. So if P, then Q. So again, the key thing here is that just the sheer use of the symbol automatically assumes that you're including the if-then words in your statement. So if P, then Q. And obviously we're not going to be writing the if and the then part. They're sort of included in the arrow symbol. All right, and then the last statement is also a conditional statement because of the keywords if then. So we're also going to be using the arrow for that. And the if statement is it does not have feathers. So that looks like a negated Q. And my then statement is a frog, which is P. So if not Q, then P. All right, now we have to do is just enter our answers into the problem. So if it is a frog, it is a frog, or does not have feathers, negated Q. It is a frog, and it has feathers. If then, so I know I'm going to be using the arrow, if Q, then P. And again, it's a conditional, so I'm going to be using the arrow if it does not have feathers. So negated Q, then P. All right.